Presented originally by Phil Drabble, and those of you over 40 will remember it, One Man and His Dog was a TV programme which showcased the time-honoured skills and traditions of sheepdog trialling, which, if you go to places such as the Borders or the Lake District, you'll often see. For me, it was fascinating to observe the coordination between the shepherd and his dog, and the dog and the not-so-always flock of obedient sheep who sometimes had a mind of their own and went in all sorts of directions. One man and his dog. Well, in our reflections this week, I don't want to consider with you one man and his dog and a flock of not-so-obedient sheep, but I do want to consider with you one shepherd and his sheep. One shepherd, that being Jesus, the chief shepherd, and his sheep. We are his sheep, the people of his pasture. And as we delve into the rich and challenging narrative of 1 Peter chapter 5, we're going to read of one shepherd and his sheep. Let's read the word of God together. So I exhort the elders among you, as a fellow elder and a witness of the sufferings of Christ, as well as a partaker in the glory that is going to be revealed. Shepherd the flock of God that is among you, exercising oversight, not under compulsion, but willingly as God would have you. Not for shameful gain, but eagerly, not domineering over those in your charge, but being examples to the flock. Peter, as he writes the 5th chapter of his first letter, is giving a word of exhortation to the elders who are among the Christians scattered in Asia Minor who will be reading his letter. These elders had special oversight responsibilities that Peter addressed. The idea of an elder, by way of background, came into church life from Jewish culture, and the word elder simply speaks of the maturity and wisdom spiritually that a person should have, making them qualified for spiritual leadership. In its application, it's more about wisdom and maturity spiritually than age physically. And Peter is qualified to speak and to address the elders who are among the Christians reading this letter, because he is, as he says, a fellow elder. And he says, shepherd the flock of God. Peter here was no doubt remembering the 3-part commission to him on the beach, recorded for us in John 21, to feed my sheep, to feed my lambs. In that passage, Jesus told Peter to show his love for Jesus by feeding and tending his sheep. And as Peter does that, he gives instruction and guidance and exhortation to the shepherds of the sheep. And the spiritual shepherd, as we think about today, does his job in 2 main ways. The first job is to feed the sheep, that being to preach and to teach the full counsel of God. And secondly, to tend to the sheep, providing good and godly pastoral care through protecting, guiding, nurturing, and caring for the sheep. The most important thing here is to shepherd the flock of God, to have a heart like the heart of Jesus, one who is willing to give his life for the sheep, and one who genuinely cares about and is interested in them. To be a shepherd is a high calling. It's about feeding the sheep and tending the sheep. And Peter says that should be done not by compulsion, but willingly. Shepherds should not do their job as if they were being forced into a task that they don't really like, but they should serve God's people, tend to the sheep willingly from a heart that loves the sheep, from a servant heart. It was F.B. Meyer who said this: we must have a shepherd's heart if we are to do a shepherd's work. We must have a shepherd's heart if we are to do a shepherd's work. Not being as lords over those entrusted to you, but being examples to the flock. Shepherds should not do their job as lords because the sheep do not belong to them. The sheep are entrusted to them. And just as in a church, the sheep are entrusted to the elders, to the pastors. And therefore, shepherds are to serve by being examples to the flock, not dictators of the flock. Peter gives this warning because there was the potential for lording over. Shepherds. The job of a shepherd spiritually is to feed the sheep by preaching and teaching the full counsel of God, and to tend to the sheep, protecting, guiding, nurturing, and caring for them. Join me tomorrow in Teaching Truth under our theme of one shepherd and his sheep, as we look at the chief shepherd of whom Peter writes.